Okay, believe we are live. Good evening, everybody. We're at the Unbreakable LA page, where we talk to great people, successful people every week. Um, what the things they're doing, the things how they started, and and shares with us the many things they went through in their journey to how they're doing their business. You know, so right now I'm gonna read. I need some glasses. I want to welcome, like every week, today we have a very, very special interview when we talk about the history of the family business located in the city of Gardena, which has a great story and about 100 years. So, we have here Gary Miyataki, for example. He's going to tell us about his successful photo business and photography, which is located in Gardena, California. But he'll tell us more of that. So, Gary, thank you very much for being here. I know that uh, I know you because of your business, and we've done stuff together. And how I found you was I was just finding the right people to do pictures for a special thing that done, and I digged in and learned more about you and learn about the history that you have. The history that you have in the photography, how your family started, which we'll get into that. And so, Gary, tell us, how are you?
I'm doing great. It's an interesting world nowadays.
Yeah.
You need to have some type of life experiences and the idea of vision and seeing the future. And sometimes history repeats itself. Sometimes one thing follows another. But somehow you got to be creative and make it all work.
Yeah. So his name doesn't on the screen, but this is Gary, and we're gonna learn about him because he's got a great stuff that I like to share to the group, to people to know about it, and how he is where he is right now. But he had good mentor to follow. So, Gary, let's just start out with here. Were you born here? You're a Japanese descendant, right?
Yes, I'm
Miyataki. So
third generation Japanese
third
American,
generation. Okay.
and I was born in Los Angeles, California.
LA, California. Perfect. Tell me, like, how it was for you when you were a little kid. How was it growing up here back then?
Well, when maybe in my teenage years or something like that, our business had started in Little Tokyo in 1923, and it's kind of just a Japanese community. And because of my grandfather's fame and what he's done, it created like a protective shield over you. Everybody knew us, and we just did our thing and had a good time.
Your grandpa was pretty popular guy back then, right?
Yes.
All right. What was your grandpa's name? First name?
My grandfather's name was Toyo.
Toyo. Like the hat, Tyo.
That's right.
Does that mean that has a meaning in translation?
No, I don't. I think it means Far Eastern warrior.
I like that.
Yeah.
And he is a Far Eastern warrior, which we'll find out. So Toyo Miyataki is the name. So okay, so let's go back to that part. I'm gonna put a little pause in there because I'd like them to get the story of how this came about for you, the photography thing. But it has a story that it started way back then before you were even born, right? So Mr. Toyo, uh, he wasn't born here, correct?
No, he was born in Japan.
Japan.
And then he came here as about a teenager, and he was kind of like the black sheep of the family.
The black sheep of the family. I like him already. So why was he black sheep? Like talk back?
Because he wanted to become an artist.
Okay.
And he came here as an artist, and then somebody told him, it's very difficult to make a living as an artist. So
Sure.
why don't you become a photographer? So it's okay. So then he became a photographer and studied under some of the top American photographers, Edward Weston, knew Ansel Adams and people like that, and he assimilated into the American culture a lot faster than most people.
Good. So back then, photography was a big deal because we don't have, it's not like now, but people don't really appreciate it too much now because we have cell phones and cameras. but probably up to year 2000s or sooner, or earlier than that. I mean, great photographers were high in demand, and way back then. So he took a liking to the photography business, and he had kind of mentors that he followed. He's kind of smart to pick some of the good ones back then. Okay, so he started doing that, and I know your shop is called Toyo Photography, right? So I want to do the little history on why it's called Toyo and all that stuff. So when did he start on his own? When did he say, okay, I know enough, I'm gonna have my own shop, or I'm gonna do my own things?
You talk about me?
How about your grandpa? Before you.
Oh, yeah.
I want to go that story. Then I come.
My grandfather started his business because nobody else in the family was doing it, so he was the first one. And he just called it by his name, Toyo Myatake Studio.
Okay.
And then his sons joined in, some relatives, and then after the war, most people never had jobs. We're talking about World War II.
You're talking about 1941?
Yeah.
Okay. There is something there before that. So I don't want to go back a little bit because I kind of know a little bit, and I want the people to know. So in 1923, is that when he started his own, right? On his own, 1923. So everything was doing good. He was kicking butt in the bit industry. People, they started to hire him more often and all that. Well, he's just making a name for himself. And then the war started, right? There was a war way back then, 1941. If you Google, seems so far away, but it was really not that far away. World War II, sorry, 1941. So there was a war. What happened in California? Your dad was born already, or not yet?
My father was born in 1927.
Okay, he was already born.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us what happened. A little history, because Inger, there was something that happened, and I want you to know, and because there's a great thing that happened in between that stuff, after that stuff. So
yeah, when the war broke out, all the people that were of Japanese American descent were ordered into, they called relocation camps to protect them, but they were actually like concentration camps. Because what they did is they took away all their property and everything, and were only able to carry what they can carry with two hands.
With their hands. Awesome.
And go in. And then my grandfather, having the vision that he did, had a lens and a film holder and smuggled it into his suitcase.
Yeah.
So he could make a camera in camp and document the camp. And he just felt that this should never happen to anyone else.
Anybody else.
Ever.
So his grandfather, Mr. Toyo, was able to take a lot of pictures throughout the stuff, which he has, right? You have an archive of that. And of course, some of them are not pretty pictures, but he has a story of everything that happened. And was he the only one who kind of did that has that stuff?
For the most part, he was the only one, because he was the
Japanese
only
guy
one that was permitted to do it.
Okay.
Knowing that he knew a lot of the Caucasians in Los Angeles and in Southern California, a couple of the photographers knew the camp director very well and said that Toyo was a great asset to the community.
Yeah.
And he helped a lot of people. So let him take pictures.
Good. So he did a lot of good stuff before. So
they allowed him to bring in all of his darkroom equipment and cameras and things like that. And they actually built him a studio in the camp.
So that's very, very interesting on that. And that's awesome. So, okay. So that pretty much over the years made Mr. Toyo Myatake stand out. Not only what his previous job, whatever he was doing before, a good thing, that was added to that. Yeah. Okay. So that was good. And then, business kept going, right? He kept going with stuff. Then you have your father, because you're still not even more probably. Your father liked the business too. How many sons did he have?
Toyo had 3 sons.
3 sons. Okay. And your father was one of the ones that really liked it a lot to follow it?
Well, they have kind of tradition in at least a lot of cultures that if it's going to maintain as a family business, it goes to the first son.
And your father was the first one?
Father was the first.
And what's your father's name?
Archie.
Archie. Archie Myatake. Okay, great. Is he's not with us anymore,
No.
right? Okay. So Mr. Archie, he kind of started applying everything your dad would probably teach him.
Mhm.
He had a tough thing to follow because your dad was already so famous among the Japanese community. I'm pretty sure, right? Now you guys were living in Little Tokyo area back then.
We were at that time living in Montebello.
Montebello. Okay, great. So your father started carrying the business, and and grandfather was kind of maybe exiting little by little. And when did you?
I think my grandfather kind of drew the line of when he was going to stop is when color photography came.
Really? So he was
Because-
passionate about black and white things.
Yeah, because you can control everything yourself. You actually take it, you develop the film, you could actually develop your own prints.
Yeah.
And you have total manipulation.
When it's black and white,
But color is more automated.
so it's easier to have color pictures for a photographer.
Well, in a certain sense, yes, but not necessarily because it was a new innovation.
Okay, great. So I wanted to get a little story of that. Then your dad ran it, and then we have. I want to get that story a little bit back, so that way we have a foundation where Toyo photography came upon. Um, awesome. So now your father was running the business, all that good stuff, and you were a little kid. Pretty sure you saw the picture taken all over the place. Uh, Gary, when did you start to like the photography business? Because sometimes kids don't like what the parents do. They go, I'm gonna do something else, like some other people. When did you what attracted you to like it? What attracted your attention for it?
Well, unfortunately or fortunately, as I was going through school, scholastically, I'm pretty bad.
Okay.
If you ask me how many books have I read in my life,
Yeah.
zero.
Zero books. Look at that. He's a great photographer. He must have read at least one photography book. Or
No, I
picture.
look at the.
You look at the pictures.
Yeah.
At least he looked at pictures. Okay, so
So
Scholastic wasn't your thing.
anyway, uh, being the eldest son again, the community expected me to become a photographer. And when I started working at the studio, I happened to be like the babysitter to my grandfather. Okay.
Okay.
And so by watching over him, and I think my grandfather was in the twilight of his career, so he decided, well, I got a grandson here that has my name, Toyo.
Yeah.
And he better be good. So I'll teach
They
him.
live up to it.
Yeah.
Or that's it. Okay, got you. So you like photography because there was really other things you didn't like. You didn't want to be like a teacher or scientific person. Okay. What does Little Tokyo mean to you over all these years?
Well, Little Tokyo years ago, when I was still a teenager in my early 20s, was a place where Japanese Americans went to go shopping because of maybe language barrier and things like that. And then it was slowly changing over from being the only place where a entertainment center for people that I think just like they say that Catalina is poor man's Hawaii. I think Little Tokyo used to be poor man's Japan.
Gotcha. But I give you guys an opportunity to visit and see nice things about Japan. Sort of like, Olvera Street, people can go and eat Mexican food and be around Mexican products, or Chinatown, that sort of thing. So it felt like that. Okay, all right. So, and I know later I'll ask you about a museum that's there that you told me about a long time ago. Actually, we went there one time. You study at the Art Center College? Is that what it's called? What's tell me about that college. Why that college?
What's an interesting thing about my education is that I was able to be taught by Toyo, my grandfather, who goes back into history to the very beginning of photography.
Yeah.
And then after that, going on to Art Center, which teaches you creativity and the vision of being able to see the future. And it's more commercial photography rather than consumer photography. So I have a blend of consumer photography and commercial photography.
Okay. So tell me, you do commercial photography.
Mhm.
You do commercial photography. All right. So, well, you did like kind of school a little bit because you went to that art college, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How many years did you go there?
That college, you don't have to read books.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You gotta like look at pictures.
All you do is talk about, techniques and how to make a picture say something, whether you're using lighting or body language
Okay.
or automatic. Ultimately, the expression.
Okay. So it's hands-on training how to take
Yeah.
pictures. Oh, that's pretty good.
And so when I was going to college or junior college, I couldn't even get into after high school. I couldn't even get into a state college. My SAT score is only like
That's
$600 or
pretty low.
$700.
Yeah. Well, that makes it
Terrible. And then when I go to art center, I graduated the top of the class. And it's
because that was your thing.
Yeah.
The art, the photography thing.
Yeah.
And that's good. You follow what you like. And I like that. I like that. I'd like to know again, where does the name Toyo Photography come from? Maybe recap about that. Toyo
well,
photography.
because my Japanese name is Toyo.
Yeah.
Because I'm the eldest grandson on both sides. One grandfather was Toyo, and the other one was Yozo. So they took the first syllables from both names and put it together, and that's how
Toyo became. Yeah. So Toyo is again that has a meaning saying that ancient faraway warrior.
Yeah,
Something
Eastern
like that.
warrior.
Eastern warrior. All right. How were the first years when you started doing Toyo photography? How were they for you? When did you start on your own? 'Cause your parents had it before, then you took over, I'm sure.
Yeah, I was running it for about 10 years.
You're running it for them.
Yeah.
Until what year? From what year to what year?
Maybe when I was maybe 30 to 40 years old.
Okay, where's it? Was that in Gardena?
That was partly in Little Tokyo, and the other part was in San Gabriel, California.
Okay, got it. So now that was there any challenges after that? Because you were running it. Did you at one point said, I want to have my own? When did that happen? Because you have your own now.
We were growing and growing and growing, and then my father, fortunately or unfortunately, didn't have the same training I did, especially art center training.
Your father.
And so a lot of the things that I was having visions of, he didn't believe in it.
Yeah.
So we got in a disagreement, and he said, you leave.
Got it.
So I said, all right.
So now
when I leave, I'm not coming back.
So now you were the black sheep of the family.
Yeah.
Like your grandpa.
Yeah.
Well, grandfather. So you got two black sheep, grandfather and grandkid. All right. So you knew you had knowledge, and then you opened your own. Where did you go?
I went. First, I worked out of my house over in Alhambra.
Yeah.
And then, in order to not be directly competing against the same clientele, I bought a studio in Gardena, California.
Gardena, and that's where we are right now. We're in Gardena, California. Yep, it's a great place for business and that. And we're gonna get to the studio shops around here and all that stuff. Okay, so what were the hurdles? You have any hurdles? I know that. Okay, I guess the major one was you and your dad. You had newer ideas. Your dad has the old-fashioned ideas, and you want to implement it. It was hard. Was it hard leaving your dad? Because you've been hard leaving the business from your dad. I mean, because truth, you're the oldest kid, and
when you're kind of upset, you don't think about it.
You just left. You said, "Yeah, I'm making my own road," something like that.
But then also too, when I was going to school, at the art center, they leave you with a lot of good ways of thinking, and one of the ones that I remember is within every problem there's an opportunity.
Yes, okay. I think so too.
And so, it's just a matter of searching it out and using your imagination. And
you learn that at the photography school.
Yeah,
because that's like real life stuff too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, like anything has two sides. So it depends how you look at it or which way you want to take it. Good. So they do some psychology teaching there too. Yeah. Both ways, psychology and pictures. Toyo, you guys have a Nisei World WW2 World War II exhibition a while ago in Little Tokyo. Do you still have it,
Um,
or you bring it out every now and then? Or
there's
what?
some of them that are already permanently in the Japanese American National Museum. They recently just renamed a street after my grandfather.
Over there in Little Tokyo.
Yeah.
So what's it called?
It's called Toyo Myatake Way.
That is great honor. Great honor to have that. You know, I think that's very good. He earned it. You know, he doesn't know, but you know, he earned it. You know, he doesn't know. He has
And I wish someday there's going to be the legacy in a form where it'll be there forever. And the ideas that I have are to form some kind of a nonprofit or foundation.
I think there's a lot of people that still great photographers, you know, because it hasn't died. It's just a little less, but they still got people with passion thinking of ground.
Well, I think what it has done is it has filtered out the ones that are marginal. You got to.
Oh yeah,
you got to be good to survive.
The ones that are not good, they're like in any business, are like pushed out. You know,
They're pushed out by the Apple phone.
Yeah, well, you know, that kind of focus by itself, so they can't really do it. So, talking a little bit about some pictures. What do you do? What do you look for to on a picture? I know I hired you for some pictures on our stuff, but man, you go, you look at this, look at that, you go up on the top. I don't know. You make so many different. What is it you look for to take a great picture? What are the certain components that you have to look at all the time?
Well, you're kind of looking at trying to make the picture say something. Okay. In the case of, let's say, for you food, you make it look like somebody wants to just take that and put it in the
eat it right there.
Yeah,
I got you.
Yeah.
So you want to capture that picture to attract the person, whatever it is.
Yeah.
If it's a mountain or a sunset, you want to attract that beautiful moment of that sunset. Okay, and does it take?
See, one of the let's say the worst comments that somebody can say is you ask them, what do you think about this picture? And they say, oh, that's good. It's nothing. What they should come back and say, which is the good comment, is very interesting. Okay. Or even if somebody says that's the most disgusting thing in the world, that's better than just a nice picture.
Gotcha. I'm gonna say something a little bit in Spanish so some people can know, because I know I have some people that know Spanish and they don't know English. So I'm just gonna take a moment. Sorry, guys, just a quick interruption. Tenemos a Gary Miyatake, él y su familia tienen como 100 años en el negocio de las fotos, prácticamente casi 100. 2023 cumpliría 100 años. Entonces, la historia es que su abuelito vino de Japón a estudiar acá, y cuando llegó, pues toda la familia quería que él sea otra cosa menos fotografía. Y pues como él era medio rebelde, estudió fotografía, conoció a unas personas americanas que le enseñaron cómo ser fotógrafo, cómo estudiarlo, y su abuelo aprendió bastante. Su abuelo nació en Japón y vino como tenía 18, 19 años a este país y comenzó a aprender. Para el año 1923, hace mucho tiempo, abrió su primer salón o lugar de fotografía, comenzó a tomar muchas fotos, se hizo famoso de la manera que tomaba, porque hace mucho tiempo se usaba muchas fotografías, no había cámaras de video y todo eso. Tenía que ser bueno para ser buen fotógrafo, para que te siga la gente. Y pasó el tiempo, en 1943 vino la guerra número 2 del mundial, y aquí en California, la Fuerza Armada, vamos a decir, agarraron a todos los japoneses, incluyendo los que han nacido acá, y le quitaron todas las propiedades y lo metieron a un campamento que le decían para relocarlos, para que vivan ahí temporariamente, pero no era eso, era como un campo de concentración, pero no lo mataban, nomás lo tenían ahí, ¿no? Entonces, el señor Toyo, what's his name? Your grandpa's name is Toyo?
Toyo.
El señor Toyo, era uno de ellos que tuvo que entrar a ese campamento, y como él de alguna manera metió sus cámaras y todo, Y ya había hecho amigos en el negocio de tomar fotos, tenía a gente que le había ayudado y ya era conocido, pero él tenía que estar ahí porque pues era por ley. Y él metió sus cámaras, logró tomar muchísimas fotos de todo lo que pasó en esos eventos y tiene fotos y todo eso bastante donde muestra todas las cosas que pasó ahí, y algunas pues probablemente no son bonitas. El señor fue la única persona que tiene esa documentación y lo tiene como en un museo, que a rato le pregunta dónde queda. Entonces, ya terminó la guerra, salió, comenzó con su negocio de las fotos y, 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 pues casi 100 años, ¿no? De ahí su papá nació, su papá se llama, Grandpa is Edward, your father? Archie, su papá se llama Archie, su papá comenzó a tomar las fotos, le gustó también porque la manera, la costumbre es de que el hijo mayor tiene que seguir la carrera que tiene el papá. Su hijo mayor, el papá de Gary, tomó la carrera de fotografía y él siguió y abrió su fotografía y así pasó. Y ahí nació Gary. Y él aprendió todo eso, le gustó la fotografía porque dice que no le gustaba la escuela, a él no le gustaba la escuela. Fue bueno para aprender de fotos, estudió en la universidad de puras fotos, donde realmente no tienes que tener libros, solo tienes que aprender cómo hacer las fotos, arreglar el cuarto, la luz, todas esas cosas, donde estudió todo eso, y aprendió y le ayudó a su papá en el negocio, le ayudó por 10 años. Y de ahí, cuando tenía 30 años, 40 años, hizo todo eso. De ahí él quería hacer más cosas, pero su papá pues le gustaban las cosas antiguas, no quería cambiar y él decidió abrirse y de ahí comenzó su propio lugar él y que hasta ahorita lo tiene y todo eso. Eso es hasta ahorita para que tengan una idea de lo que ha pasado. El nombre Toyo significa guerrero de asiático, asiático lejano, algo así, pero tienen la cosa de guerrero. Y en Los Ángeles hay una parte que se llama Little Tokyo, es como una pequeña ciudad, es la ciudad grande, pero tiene una parte donde son puros lugares japoneses y su abuelo, Toyo Myatake, tiene una calle dedicada a él. Y aquí en Los Ángeles, California, no te dedican calles así nomás, al menos que ha sido algo importante para la comunidad, como fue su abuelo. Su abuelo dejó unos zapatos bien grandes para llenarlos. No así nomás cualquiera. Su abuelo es bien conocido en la comunidad japonesa y todo eso. So Gary, I just give a little update. So I'm going to go back to my next question I have for you. When you do a work, what is the most important thing you do for your work, and what separates you from others? Because you take great pictures. What is it that sets you apart?
What was the first?
When you do your photography work, what separates you from others?
I think there's a certain amount of ability that is just there because of the longevity of that same profession. It's in our blood, the 3 generations.
Yeah,
and that's what everybody thinks of what we do, and then that kind of thinking is just inherent on how, at least for me, how I approach a subject to take a picture.
Okay.
Whether it be a person or something or some product or something.
Yeah. So maybe it's hard for you to explain because it comes to you naturally, right? That you have to deliver a great product, a great picture. Talking about pictures, tell us some of the famous people that you took pictures. I know that you have with Cesar Chavez.
Yeah.
But tell us more, and the mayor too. But tell us who and the judges and all that stuff. So tell us about some of those famous people that you took pictures.
The last one, which is one of the biggest things, if not the biggest thing that ever happened, is doing the portrait of Cesar Chavez.
Cesar Chavez, he's a big deal.
Yeah.
Person for rights.
When I was asked to take a picture with Cesar shaking hands with somebody, by doing a lot of investigating into the well-known portraits that were ever done, I noticed that there wasn't anything done of Cesar Chavez, a formal portrait.
Oh, really?
There's pictures of him.
Yeah, many pictures, like, you don't know they're taking pictures of him.
Yeah. And so even though the job was a very simple job,
Mhm.
just going there and taking a snapshot, I took my studio equipment and set up a studio at the 30th anniversary of the United Farm Workers Union.
Okay. So
then-
this was at a meeting that you
Yeah.
took the picture.
And so I had it set up in another room to do a portrait. And then on the other side was Cesar Chavez. He was talking to the people there because it was the 30th anniversary of the United Farm Workers Union. So the fellow that hired me said, "I'll go get him." And then he came back and he said he's too busy. And this comes back to something that I learned in school. They said that no matter what job you go on, and if you have a full studio setup, always take a portable camera.
Mhm.
So I took a portable camera, and from the experience of knowing people, I knew that I can somehow maybe talk Cesar Chavez into
Getting a quick pic.
get a picture on the other side in the studio that I set up. So I went over to the other side and I saw him signing autographs and signing books and signing hats and all kinds of other stuff.
Mhm.
And I knew from experience that a lot of these high profile people, they're happy to do that.
Yes.
But there's only so many times you can answer, "Thank you for starting the United Farm Workers." So I used my camera and went over there and said, "Let's take a picture." And I knocked the line down. And then after it was all over, then Caesar was just standing there. And I said, "It's nice to meet you, Mr. Chavez. And my family's been doing photography for 100 years here in Los Angeles. And I have something set up. I'd like you to come over and do a picture with this politician and yourself, and maybe one by yourself." And he said, "Sure." So he came over, and we started off with the big family. And it went down and got smaller and smaller and smaller. And by the time it got down to 3 or 4 people, I thought to myself, if I get him in front of the camera, how am I going to take this picture?
Yeah.
So I thought about, he was started the United Farm Workers Union, and basically
He started it, right?
it's about hard work and labor. So I thought to myself, we'll do one let's see. And then I thought there was another famous photographer named Richard Avedon, and he did portraits of people, just important people, just standing there doing nothing. So I said, I'm going to do an Avedon, and then after that, I'll take a picture with Cesar Chavez standing there, exactly the opposite of working hard, is standing there with your hands in your pockets,
Just relaxing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so people would say, "What are you doing? You're supposed to be working, and he's standing there with your hands in your pocket." But it turned out to be a very majestic looking
That's a good one. So you got him in a photo that is always busy with people.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good. And then you also have a picture with an old mayor, which has a LAX International Terminal on, which is
Tom Bradley. I did his portrait. It was his last portrait in office.
Yeah.
And I'm proud to say that when he passed away, his body was lying in state at the convention center. And the people asked, they need a picture of him. And they said, let's go get his favorite portrait.
Yeah.
And so the secretary said, it's the one that Toyo did.
Wow.
So they put that in.
That's great.
Yeah.
And he was a well-loved mayor for many, many. I liked him. Maybe nobody's perfect or anything, but I liked him. And look, he's got a terminal, LAX International Terminal, named Tom Bradley after him.
Yeah.
He won pretty much anytime he wanted to keep running. Right. So you got him, and you got other people too, judges. Different judges.
We're doing the federal judges in Los Angeles, the federal judges, the chief judge, and all the judges.
Okay. So yeah, and then you also do, of course, regular family portraits and stuff like that. Eva, ¿puede pasarme la foto que está ahí en la silla? El grande.
¿Cuál?
Ahí, esa grande. La foto familiar. So I'm going to show you something. Because Gary captures great moments. So acá está Eva, va a enseñar. Acércale un poquito. So this is like canvas. Like, it's really nice, right? Canvas should last for a long time, right? Yeah, the canvas. This is my family picture. So he takes it and it has a very special meaning, and all my kids in there. So that's what we have in there. So he has a studio. Yeah, pretty good. Good moment. So that's what he does.
See, the mother's in the middle.
Yeah. Kids on the
First
side.
son is right next to you.
Yeah.
Second son right next, and the daughter.
And you lined us up. You picked the way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, when he takes it in, he's got a little Toyo signature like that. Right?
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, he does that, and he did all a lot of great. What do you call it? The menus for our family restaurant called Pollo Inca. So he did that too. Took all the pictures, and it's all nice and neat and all that good stuff. So Toyo, the key to your success for you, not for your family, for you. Now, what is it?
Don't be complacent. Move ahead. Keep going. Also, too,
Don't be
you know, you could be trying something new all the time, but always think about doing something. First, you do a picture of what you think that the client wants,
Yeah.
and then you do another one to say what you would really like to see. Don't just do what you like to see, because some people want to see what they want to see.
Okay.
And 9 times out of 10, they're going to pick the one that I
That
want.
you did. So number one, don't be complacent. Keep doing more. Keep learning, and then listen to the customer. And but you make adjustments, and then at the end they pick what your opinions are. Alguien tiene sueño. ¿Qué más? Do you have any plans for Toyo photography? Innovation? What do you think?
I'd like for the Miyatakes to get together and make either a nonprofit or a foundation, and the purpose would be to teach children art through photography.
I think that's a good idea. We're losing that. We're losing that part, you know. And as we go,
With the innovation of technology and computers
Yeah.
and the internet and stuff,
I want to
you know, everything's too cut and dry. You got to be more artistic about life.
like maybe up to 10 years ago, there used to be photography shops at every corner, or many places. And with, like he said, technology, we're taking pictures on our phones that take great pictures and all that stuff. And people don't develop them as used to. Uh, how have you outlasted? Because in Gardena, how many shops are in Gardena that you know of that have studios for pictures?
2 or 3.
2 or 3, and it used to be like probably 10 or 15 because I used to go to different ones too before I met him. So the good ones survive basically, right?
Either that or long-lasting ones can survive. Although I got to say, you know, the people that have lasted a long time doesn't mean that they were able to last through the transition of the new technology, because the art of photography that was from the beginning until maybe 20 years ago was more of a a right brain type of thing, more artistic. Which one's which?
Oh no, the
Okay,
left one
one
is more
side-
creative. I think left is creative, if I'm right.
Okay. Anyway,
side
creative
that's
and
creative.
technology is the opposite side.
Yeah.
And whatever photographers had before, they had to develop the other side, the technical
Okay.
aspect. And if they didn't, there's some.
Oh, okay. All
So
right.
even for me, I hired somebody for 2 years that knew how to translate from one side of the brain to the other. But it's very hard because it takes a totally different mind.
Gary, what's one technique that you're still using that you remember from your grandfather?
Lighting.
Lighting.
Lighting for portraits is everything.
The correct lighting. Right?
Yeah, to make
Softer,
the person look good. You know, the lighting part, highlights and shadows, is just like an artist with a brush.
Okay, that's important. All right. Out of all the things you learn, out of everything that you know, you've been through a lot. You've been through a lot of things. What do you think or consider as the best? What was the best teaching that your grandpa and your dad have left you? One of the biggest teachings, maybe one for each.
A lot of what I learned through the family business, learning about people.
Yeah.
And then also to the training at art school.
Okay.
And a combination of both of those make it very unique on how I do things.
Does anyone teaching stand out from your from Toyo, your grandfather? Like, do you say, man, he should say this all the time, even in life advice? Do you remember anything?
Yeah, he told me, he said, our name is perfect for being a photographer.
Okay.
Myatake. May I take your picture?
May I take your picture? Toyo, may I take your picture, please? Okay, good. You got a sense of humor. You're a grandfather. All right. Who you consider the most important people in your life and why?
Um, as far as photography is concerned, probably my grandfather.
Okay.
As far as my life is concerned, my son corny, but my mother's pretty
I like that.
Yeah.
And you're still alive, right?
Yeah.
You go visit her.
She's a couple times a week. I still go visit her. She lives at the retirement home and still keeps a cheery expression on her face.
Yeah.
And being married to my father for even 65 years and working with him and being with him all the time, maybe once a month I'll take her to the cemetery to go visit her husband.
Yes.
And I can't believe for somebody that worked and lived and did everything together, she could keep from crying. I just
She
can't
cries still?
She doesn't.
Oh, she doesn't cry.
And she says,
Wow.
someday I'll be here with you, but not yet.
Okay. So
Yeah.
she knows. Maybe she's just enjoying the moment,
Yeah.
She's just saying, you know what, I had a good time.
Yeah.
We had a good run. And, she's happy. She'd rather remember the happy moments, than me crying, which is fine. So if you like, let's say you go back in time a little bit. If you started again, would you choose another career?
Um,
Now with whatever you want.
I could, okay, but I wouldn't be as good because I think that for the certain qualities of personality and talent that I have, it fits pretty good into photography.
Okay, so we'll do photography again.
In fact, it's not just photography. Um, fortunately for me, I look back on my life as far as my children and my family was concerned. If I thought about it and I was going to do it all over again, I'd do it the same way.
Beautiful, beautiful. What talk about motivation? What motivates you every day, Gary? Because you've been doing this for a while now, long time. What motivates you to keep doing it every day? What keeps you going?
To watch people come into my place, take a picture, and when they get the picture and they look at it, they smile. That's it.
So you like to catch the right moments on their expression. Yeah. That motivates. Yeah.
They like what they're willing to pay their hard-earned money for just something that I like to do.
Right. And something else. They go to his studio because you kind of notice that you do passport pictures.
Yeah.
You do portrait pictures. You do hire freelance where they like our place in Napoleon Cardina. He took all the pictures of all the dishes. We took about 2-3 days because so many plates. You do my real estate pictures too for things like that. But what I wanted to say is that he had a studio where people I seen it where they go take a passport picture. Now a passport picture you can take at CVS, you can take at Office Depot, stuff like that. But people still choose to go to him to take the passport pictures, which is nice because you get a guy that really wants to get a nice picture of you, and then they get to meet him, and then later because of the passport picture, now they want a picture of a family, and then you get a new customer for life.
I lucked out. There's programs like Yelp, and you do a good job, and they just review and review and review, and then
you do have a lot of reviews on Yelp.
I didn't realize this until later. People that have passports, they're not poor.
Well, they're traveling.
Yeah.
That means they have money, so they're able to get a family portrait or extra stuff
or anything.
That's true. That's true. So, and about that technology, you're some sort of savvy, but the social media savvy, not much. Right?
Just enough.
And with that, he does a lot. Trust me, he does he keeps busy, and his shop is just like here in Gardena. It's a couple blocks from us at the restaurant. So, in one word, what is photography for you?
My life, my happiness, my enjoyment. That's 3 words.
That's fine, or whatever words it takes, right? But it gives you. I see you happy doing that. You know, you see you happy. You have freedom. You're your own guy. You control your business. And I see you driving around. You stop at the office whenever you feel like, and so you have it's giving you a great life.
Yeah.
And you have two great daughters or three. If I'm, it's just two, right? And daughters.
Yeah.
That's nice. That's nice. All right. So for people that want to start a business or people that have a family business, what advice or guidelines would you give them? Would you share with them?
Just make sure you're pretty much enjoy doing that kind of work. You no matter what kind of a job or what kind of business you start, make sure you enjoy it.
Yeah. Okay. I like it. So make sure they like it. Again, don't just do it because it's part of the family tradition.
Or they're good at it. It's
Just do
just
it.
like, you know, like like your restaurant, let's say.
Mhm.
Okay. If you see somebody that likes to talk to people and greet people and
Yeah.
stuff like that, you don't put them in the kitchen.
Right. They'll be outside. Greeter.
Yeah.
Be customer service
Yeah.
oriented. Gary, it's been great. I know you taking your time to be here. Normally we do it on the camera, but he's so close. I said, why don't you just do it right here? We just talk in person. But I like to see him anyways. I saw him earlier too. So what any last words of advice? Anything else you'd like to share to a lot of younger people that would be watching this and maybe in the replay or whatever? Any advice of everything that you've been through?
Well, in order
what would
to
you
be
give?
happy, and I don't know if this is the right thing to say, but I'm going to say
It's your
because it came
time.
to my mind.
Say whatever
Okay?
it is.
Is that uh, you always try your best.
Mhm.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
And I in order to be happy, I have 4 words that I have in my mind that keep me going
Okay.
and keep me happy and things like that. And I use 2 words at a time,
Yeah.
and the 2 words are so what? Who cares? Don't.
Those are the 4 words.
Yeah. Don't.
You don't let things bother you.
No. You don't let it bother you.
There
Yeah.
you
That's
go.
right. And
That's good.
if you, I mean, you can't go telling everybody. They say, well,
In your
this
mind.
should be this. You're so. Don't say it to the
It's
people.
in your mind.
In your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you have to train your mind how to be it. Well, great. I really appreciate the time. Gary's an awesome guy. His shop is around. A lot of people know him. He knows almost all the business owners in Gardena. We went to breakfast to several places. What's that guy with the camps? What's that guy? Scadaria? Whatever. Remember that guy that by Family's Burger?
Yeah. Iskandarian.
Scadaria camps, which a lot of kids in my high school knew where those camps because we built things and stuff like that. Back in the day, way back. But he knows a lot of people. A lot of people know him. So he goes drives to Gardena. Everybody, he talks to everybody. He knows the Giuliano family. He knows everybody, and everybody knows him. He can walk into the kitchen like nothing, because he's like a family to kind of like a family to a lot of the businesses. I've seen so much. It feels like it. Well, Gary, thank you so much for coming here and doing this thing. It's even a little bit nicer that we do it here together. So I really appreciate it. So he got some good stuff in there that he shares, and just keep coming in. Next, we're always working on having great people, all the time. So check it out next week. We have somebody else in the music business, and we'll put that up next time. Thank you for helping us, and thank you for Gary and forever for bringing the picture too. Take care. Have a nice evening.